Have you ever felt like you're just on the outside looking in? Well, it turns out that's a super common feeling, especially for highly intelligent people. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack the real reason why this happens. And hint, it has everything to do with how your brain is actually wired. And I mean like really out of sync. It's not just about disagreeing on what movie to watch. It's that deeper feeling that your brain is just on a completely different frequency, In meetings, in conversations, maybe even with your closest friends. It can be pretty isolating. And if that hits home for you, you're going to want to stick around for this. You see, most of us have this story we tell ourselves to explain that feeling. It's usually a story about us being awkward, or maybe a little difficult, or just not getting it. But what if that whole story is just wrong? We're about to flip that entire narrative on its head. Okay, so first things first, let's get on the same page about what we're talking about here. This is the outsider experience. And it's not just about being a little quirky or having some unique hobbies. Nope, it goes much, much deeper than that. This is the key right here. This isn't something that just happens once in a while. It's this recurring, nagging sense that you just don't quite fit the mold, no matter how hard you try. It really is like you're watching a game where everyone else seems to know the rules, and you're just standing there trying to figure out how to even play. So when we feel this way, what do? Well, our brains are meaning-making machines, so they scramble for an explanation. We come up with a story to make it all make sense, and almost every single time, that story ends up blaming one person: ourselves. And here's the faulty logic we almost always use. The feeling is, I'm out of place. So the cause we jump to is, this must be a social failure on my part. Or even worse, there's just something fundamentally wrong with me. We take this external feeling of disconnect and we turn it into an internal defect. This is the question that changes everything. What if the entire premise we've built our self-criticism on is just wrong? What if the reason we feel this way has absolutely nothing to do with us being flawed? And that brings us to the core idea for today, a concept called the cognitive mismatch. This is such a powerful way to reframe this entire experience, not as some kind of personality problem, but as something much simpler, a difference in mental processing. So the crucial point is this. That feeling of being an outsider isn't about you failing socially. It's about your brain being wired to see and analyze the world in a fundamentally different way from most people. Think of it like a hardware difference, not a software bug. So what does this mismatch actually look like? Well, first, it's a mismatch in thinking speed. You're already 5 steps ahead in a conversation while everyone else is still in step 1. You've already reached the conclusion. Maybe you've even thought of 3 counter-arguments while they're still just laying out the basic idea. It can be so frustrating, right? Like you're just constantly waiting for everyone else to catch up. And second, there's a mismatch in thinking depth. You might be craving these deep, complex, nuanced discussions, but the conversation around you just stays in the shallow end of the pool. You want to analyze the why behind everything, but small talk just feels like a completely foreign language. And this isn't a moral judgment, it's just a different cognitive preference. This is probably the most important thing to get from all of this. Feeling like an outsider doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're running on a different operating system, one that might be a little more complex, a little more powerful than the standard issue. Let's just let that sink in for a second. Your perspective doesn't match the average because you are operating on a different cognitive level. It's not about being better or worse, it is just about being different. Your entire reality is shaped by that cognitive level, so of course it's not always going to align with everyone else's. Maybe it was never supposed to. So what's the bottom line here? First, remember, this is a mismatch, not a defect. It's about cognitive speed and depth. Second, that feeling of being an outsider, it's a real and perfectly valid result of how your brain is built. And finally, and this is the real game changer, internalizing this idea lets you trade in all that constant self-criticism for a powerful new self-awareness. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. How would your interactions, your sense of belonging, maybe even your self-worth, how would all of that shift if you started seeing these moments not as a personal failure, but simply as a cognitive mismatch? It's a powerful thought.